Hi everyone. In this video I would like to demo you how you can read database table and iterate over its lines to add it into your RPA flow. To demo that, we'll use the same example that we are using in all our training session for RPA, and the example is to create a new sales order on the Oracle EBS system. And this time, after creating the sales order header, we will get the lines of the sales order from a database table. So for that, I've created in my demo database a small table with sales order lines. This is the table. It has a PO number that relates to specific sales order, and then it has a few lines for the sales order. These are the fields for each line, and these are the lines of the table. To iterate over that table, I've also created a DB service in Oracle Service Manager that gets into the database, reads the table, and has as an input parameter the PO number. So you just state the PO number and it will get you all the lines that relates to this PO number. If you're not familiar with how to create a DB service inside Oracle Service Manager, just check in our other training session for how to do that. So I just run this DB service to see how the output looks like, and when I run it with the input value of demo PO1, I will get a table with 3 lines, 1, 2, 3, as I have it in my table, 1, 2, 3 for demo PO1. So now I have a DB service that returns me the correct lines for specific PO number, and let's see how I can integrate it into my RPA flow. So the place to put it is right here after I'm creating the header. The first thing I would need to do, of course, is to invoke the DB service that actually gets me the lines, the one that we just saw running. So this is the DB service. And the outputs of this DB service will be, of course, the lines of the tables. And now I can add a loop. And this time it will be a loop that goes over a table. This will be the type of the loop. And when I'm selecting the type table, it means that this loop knows to iterate over a table that was returned by an Oracle service that was invoked before, like the DB service that we have just added. So I just select table here, and on the table part, on which table I want to iterate, I will just get it from the service, from the DB service that we just added. Once I'm selecting it, I'm getting all the output parameters that I will get back from the table. And at this phase, all I need to do is just select one of the fields. The only important part here is just to select a field that it is mandatory for the table, which means that it will always contain a value for any row of the table. It doesn't really matter the technical reason for that. We can discuss it in a more advanced session later. But for this phase, all you need to know is that you need to select one of the fields, but it should be a field that it is mandatory, that it will always have a value for any row of the table. So I'll just select here the PO number because I know it will have a value for any row of the table. And that's it. Now I have a loop that iterates over the results of the DB service, which reads from the database, and inside the loop I can call the service that actually creates the sales order line, which would be this service. And the last thing I need to do is to wire the values from the loop, from the lines that are getting from the database table, into the inputs that are needed for this service. So let's see how I do that. I will just go to the input parameters of the service, and I'll take the select value option, choose the loop as the previous service where I want to take it from, and for ordered item I will take the item ID here, which is one of the fields in the table. For the quantity, I will just select the quantity column. For the date, I will take the date column, again from the loop. And for the index, I will take the predefined variable that was created by the loop, which is the index that it iterates over. And I will also set the keep alive, because this service is a partial service and it needs to keep the session as we explained in previous session. That's it. Now I have a loop that goes over the results of the DB service that read the table from the database. It loops over the lines that were returned, and I have the create, the add sales order line that is wired to each iteration of the loop to the values from the table. Now I can just save it and try to run it. Let's try to run. And here it is. The lines were processed successfully. This is the number of the newly created order, and if we go to our EBS system, let's see where it is. Oh, here it is. Let me connect to it. This is our EBS system. I'll just try to find the new order that we just created, and hopefully we'll see all the lines there. Let's go to the lines item, and here are all the lines that were taken from the database service. That's it. Thank you very much.